welcome to my brand new video comedy review show, Run Cycle. I'm your host, Cameron Allen, and in the near future, we'll be exploring video game adventures, both old and new. But I'd like to shift focus a bit to kick off this brand new show with a review of a brand new movie. I figured it's right up my alley, and as you can see, I share a special fondness for pixel art myself. After all, what says video games and comedy more than Adam Sandler? That being said, Pixel starts off strong with an almost flawlessly executed exposition, which is able to cram a surprising amount of backstory into the film before the opening credits are even finished, introducing all our main characters and their core motivations without ever skipping over too much or throwing too much in your face at once. Unfortunately, the film starts off on a strong foot only to transition into its worst scene. It's good that you get it over with, but it's difficult to watch nonetheless. The movie cuts to Adam Sandler in present time working as a computer technician, installing a flat screen and game console in the home of Violet, played by Michelle Monaghan. Not only does Adam Sandler mess up the scene by trying to install a PS4 horizontally with the vertical stand still attached, he hits on Monaghan with moves that would be a one-way ticket to a restraining order in real life.
Whoa.
I'm sorry, whoa?
Luckily, the film picks up when the two characters are called into the White House by President Kevin James. Sorry, I promise that's the biggest spoiler I give, but it works, you'll see. It is here that we learn the main plot of the story, that aliens have discovered their recordings of the 1982 Video Game World Championships, as well as various other 80s pop culture references, and plan to destroy Earth by playing by the same rules as the video games. The rest of the film consists of a multitude of different video game battle scenes, including Pac-Man, Pong, and Donkey Kong. My favorite was the centipede battle near the beginning, complete with its own retro 80s montage, and the all-out chaotic climax of pixel mayhem at the end. The visual effects shown are beautiful, as each video game character still retains its vibrance and likeness of the original, yet adds a feel of dimension and realism that really makes the CGI believable. In my opinion, the visual effects rival the likes of Transformers films, but perhaps that's just my personal bias. This film is sure to give you a nostalgia trip too, as it's loaded with 80s cliches, references, and music to accompany the young at heart and lovers of the classics. And if you didn't have the privilege of growing up in that era, this film is sure to entertain you with its well-written humor. Being an Adam Sandler film, I was a bit worried going into it about the quality of the jokes, but Sandler's laid-back, cynical style of delivery fits with his washed-up has-been character well.
That makes sense.
The only cringe-worthy jokes being said as he addresses the presidential cabinet and rattles off about 5 half-assed observational jokes in quick succession, without much rhyme or reason. Both Kevin James and Josh Gad's performances are equally as good, the former presenting an endearing, likable quality as the latter performs a more random and most likely improvised comedic scenes, one of which being a hilarious nonsensical pep talk for a squadron of soldiers.
This is the Wonder Kid, also known as
Your worst nightmare!
The worst performances are actually given by Michelle Monaghan and Peter Dinklage, surprisingly, as Monaghan delivers a likable charm that sadly often gets cut short due to the lack of freedom given for her character due to forcing the weird love interest with her and Sandler. Dinklage, on the other hand, is given a lot of content to work with, but often comes out a bit too eccentric for his character. After all, it must be hard to transition from such dramatic work in Game of Thrones to a more relaxed comedy setting. Overall though, Pixels is a very well-rounded movie. It keeps good pace without ever feeling dull, and its visual effects sequence are absolutely astounding. Even if they choose Mini Coopers to represent ghosts over a more impressive ghost-looking car, like for example the new Corvette Stingrays, and even if you won't find a dedication to Satoru Iwata in the credits. Perhaps they could fix this on the DVD release though. What I did find inexcusable was the lack of credit given to what the film was clearly inspired by. For those of you who don't know, there was a short film made in 2010 under the same name that depicts video game characters coming to life and wreaking havoc on the world. It includes all the major games that appear in the film, and some parts even match up shot for shot with what's shown in the movie. It's obviously the main influence for the film, and yet it's mentioned nowhere in the credits. In my opinion, if you want to make a commercial movie of someone else's idea, at least give them credit where credit's due. But with that being said, Pixels is a very enjoyable film that's sure to entertain many a generation alike, particularly if you're as much a fan of video games as I am. Hey, thanks for sticking around. If you like what you saw, please subscribe, and I'll see you real soon.